One of the most frustrating things in the world, I think, is when you try to put yourself out there and people aren't receptive to it. But in this video, I'm going to exactly tell you how to put yourself out there in a way that actually will make people receptive to it. It sounds like a big deal, but it's very, very simple. And not only that, this method and this analogy, I think, will really land with you and put you on your way to growing and thriving and learning how to put yourself out there. Because honestly, people aren't trying to reject you or neglect you. They have so many other people fighting for their attention. Half the time, they might even not even see your post because all these algorithms are changing. Or it might take them several posts with an S times like maybe 3 to really understand what you're doing, because you got to remember, you are the holder of the vision. It is your job to understand the vision and communicate it with people so clearly and oh so clearly, and there's probably some of the details that you're overlooking, but so clearly with the details to the audience that they get exactly what that vision is in your head, because you can see it, they can't. So it is, number one, your job to put out that vision so well and so many times, which will probably feel annoying to you. But at the point that you start annoying people is when you actually start marketing to people. Key number one. But I got this analogy from Daniel Dalen. This is where we'll start it. And number one, and this is very simple, is imagine that you're in a stadium full of 70,000 people. It's dead silent. And you just decide to stand up and start clapping. Okay? And people are going to look at you and be like, what in the world is he doing? And they're going to make fun of you. They're probably going to mock you. But you know what? It's dead silent in a stadium and nobody's taking this opportunity but you. So you just keep on clapping. And before you know it, the people next to you, they might feel bad for you. They might be like, he's on to something. Or, like, maybe she's on to something. Like, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? Like, they're curious, right? And you know how you defeat curiosity or people say anything? You just keep going. You just keep putting it out there. And then before you know it, those people stand up and start clapping with you. And then before you know it, the people next to them, it's the ripple effect. And it'll go around the stadium just like the wave, right? But I love this because when we put ourselves out there, for instance, like, it's as awkward as that sometimes. I think everybody feels that. It's like we get up the steam and the motivation. We put ourselves out there one day, one post, just put it out there and we're like, whew, man, that should do the trick. And it doesn't. What it takes, like that person clapping in the stadium, it takes consistency. It takes cadence. You just got to go slow. You got to do it every day. You got to talk about it from every different angle. Like, how is this going to benefit people? What got you into it? Why are you interested in it? What's your personal story of transformation? A lot of times too, if it's a service, people are focusing on, like an online community I have, and I was like so fixated on like there's one call a month, there's a monthly challenge, there's a weekly Q&A, there's all this stuff. But okay, behind that door, what is it? It's a container for people who want to help one another and have the support of a community, but still be independent, to help understand that what they're going through, everybody else is, which helps validate their emotions and helps push them forward, right? It's the accountability buddy effect, right? But, I was so focused on those details that I forgot to simply tell people, like, it's emotional connection, it's support, it's community, it's, bouncing ideas off one another. It's like everything I wish I didn't have. But, you got to, back to this, it's like, how do you share that for other people in your business? Like, and a big key to that is like emotional connecting pieces. But essentially what I'm getting at is there's so many angles to talk about the same thing. You got to think about, like, there's a pepperoni in the middle of a pizza. How many ways can you slice that pepperoni? And that's how many different posts you can do about talking about the same thing about your business, your service, your thing, whatever it is. Because here's the fact. People have, on average, I think a 3rd grade reading level is what they taught us in nursing, okay? So you gotta understand, like, you might be talking to them at an 8th grade reading level, and it might make sense in your brain, but that's why the most successful businesses are so simple, and they're so simple they can put them out there 100 different ways, and it still does the same thing. But what you I think really, really just need to focus on is simply what can you share? And you got to get creative sometimes, but there's so many different aspects of your business to share. And you know what? Let's just make a list real quick. You could talk about what your solution is and why it's unique. You could talk about your journey, what you didn't have in your life, and how this created a solution for it, because that's where 99% of people get their ideas. Number 3, you got to talk about yourself at that time in your life, what you were going through in the details to figure out the pain points. And you got to really go past those pain points and figure out what simple words people can connect to that tell them that you have the answer, because they're going through that and they didn't have the answer because that's why you created it, right? And then from there, even the pain points, you got to talk about what benefits the solution will bring to people. How will it take them if they're A and this solution brings them to B? What does B look like? Where does it put them? How do they feel? How does it make their life better? What does it take out of their life that they're looking to get rid of? What does it add that they're looking to add into it? Like, those are even just some more benefits, you know? You can talk about your first client's journey and their experience. You could talk about the ethos and why you do this and why you love it so much and what it brings you on feeling wise, because people love to help other people, you know? There's so many aspects of a business that you can talk about. A lot of times we're just like, we have to do this, A, B, C, D, E. You know, you can mix up those letters as many times as you want and you can tell the same story. You just got to talk about it from different angles and put out that consistent content in a cycle. You got to have a system, because what you'll find out with this model too is like, it'll take X amount of posts to get one call for a Y, which will make you, X, Z amount of money. So for every, you got to figure out the formula of how many posts does it take to set a call and how many calls does it take to convert a client to a paying customer, okay? So even once you get that system down, like, it'll blow your mind, because it'll essentially be like, sometimes on this YouTube channel, I know I gotta post 3 videos to get 10 subscribers or something like that, you know? But it's like, how consistent I am is how high the algorithm will throw me up. The better my content gets and the more consistent I am, the higher it'll throw me up. The more that people know what days and what times I drop these videos, they're going to be watching, especially if I give you a little bit of value. And you got to think about that from your customer side. Like, if they see you once a month, why would they want to follow you? Do they think you're still in business, or is this just a side thing that you're doing every now and then? You know, you got to look at it from their perspective, because even like modern day marketing, like, you see the same commercial probably 7 times before you purchase it, but it gives you that backdoor idea that when you're at the store and you're thirsty, maybe you want a Coke, you know? You got to think about it this way and be like, step out of the victim role, go back into the guy who's just clapping in the middle of the stadium, or the girl, and you're just like, people are going to be curious and be like, what are they doing? Then they're going to see that you're not going to stop. They're going to want to join in. The people around them are going to want to join in, because they're like, this is something new. Everybody else is seated. It's silent. I'm bored. I like this. Okay, it's different. Okay, it's kind of fun. Let's keep going. And then before you know it, which is really cool about the stadium model, you got 70,000 people following you, because you were consistent with your idea. You fought through the discomfort of people questioning what you're doing because you're breaking a norm. You stayed on your mission. You got your founders. Then you got their friends. And before you know it, the whole fucking stadium clapping along with you. So you got to figure out what that speed is of your clap, how long you can do it, and how you can do something every single day to make sure you continue your mission. It's not a game about sprinting. It is such a freaking marathon, and you just got to find your way to keep going. And you got to keep it simple. And you got to have fun. And on the days you don't want to do it, you don't want to stop clapping, because, like, where's that sound? You just want to keep that momentum going, baby. Peace out, y'all. Make sure you subscribe, give this video a like if it helped you out, and I'll see you on the next one.